Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. Today we're going to take a look at the Black Diamond Pursuit 30. Now, after I did a review of the Distance 22 and the Distance 15, I had really high expectations for the Pursuit because I absolutely loved the Distance line. But before we get into talking about if this bag lives up to what I hoped it would, we're going to do what we usually do. We're going to talk a little bit about Black Diamond as a brand. We're going to talk about the materials that went into this bag, exterior features, interior features. Then we'll talk about what this bag is good at, what it's bad at, its price point, and if it might be good for you. So if you're unfamiliar with Black Diamond, they focus in apparel and equipment for mountaineering, essentially rock climbing, grabbing peaks, backcountry skiing, that type of thing. They usually like their apparel and gear to be stylish but highly functional in terms of being lightweight, weather resistant, and durable, especially when they're using the mountains, being able to hold up to that kind of environment. So the materials they used in the Pursuit 30 are all recycled and they are weather resistant. The zippers have a weather resistance to them, but it is not completely waterproof. This material here on the sides is what is weather resistant, but this kind of elastic mesh is not. That's going to soak up water, as well as the shoulder straps. Those are going to take on water as well, just as a note. So let's start off by going through some of these exterior features, and I've got this bag loaded up with some stuff just to kind of demonstrate what it's capable of holding. So at the top here, we just have a little zippered pocket where I've got a beanie, a pair of gloves, notebooks, guidebooks, and you can see there's pretty much like a hand worth of space in there. That's a decent sized pocket. And then we have just this little mesh area where you could stuff a light layer. If you need to have anything quick access during your hike or whatever you're doing, you can shove it into this area and be able to hold it down. And then there's this drawstring. And this drawstring actually connects to the cords that are on the side of the bag. So if you're carrying anything in the side pockets, this is what's going to tighten that down and really compress the pack as tightly as possible. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, whether it's good or not. But now looking at the side of the bag, as I mentioned, you have your compression straps there, and you have what they call a pocket, but it's honestly a pretty weird design that can hold a water bottle. I would mention as a con, it doesn't really hold that water bottle very securely, because this entire section isn't necessarily a pocket. It's kind of just a loop of fabric that friction and compression hold stuff into. So I wish this pocket was a bit more secure, I'm not gonna lie, especially when it relies on the compression of just this one thin cable holding it in there. On the opposite side, as an example, I have some trekking poles in here. So I'll just pull those out just to make it easier to handle the rest of this bag. And you can see how these pockets are all interconnected and you can go across the entire thing. So if you were to put a light rain layer in here and you were hiking and you needed to grab that, that would be pretty quick just to reach back and pull it out, whatever you have in this main compartment from this side. But in terms of being a secure holder for anything, I wish it was a bit more secure. And then to top it off, they just have some daisy chains on either side where you could attach a carabiner, a light, anything like that for a little bit more storage. Now we flip it over to the back side here. We do have, starting from the top, a little wire handle that is attached fairly firmly, but it is very, very light and it is very small. I'm not sure how much I would trust this bag in general holding a heavier load, just because the construction of it is so lightweight and minimalistic. Same goes for the carry handle. Coming down to the shoulder straps, there are two small load lifters that they do work. As again, load lifters are usually used for a heavier load, and you're probably not going to carry too much in this, but it is a feature. And then the shoulder straps themselves are nice and wide, but they are fairly thin. But they are mesh and clear all the way through, so they breathe very well. You're probably not going to be like sweating through these too bad. And this comes down to the part of the bag that I was the most excited about and honestly the most let down by. So if we look back at the Distance 22 and the Distance 15, they also had pockets in the shoulder straps. The difference being that the ones on the 15 and the 22 were actually big enough to hold the cell phone and your wallet and whatever else you might need. When I got this pack, I expected them to be the same design, but one, the right hand side has a zipper and just a little elastic mesh pocket, and these are not big enough to hold a cell phone, which in my opinion is a pretty big letdown because that was one of my favorite features of the smaller bags. But they do still have 2 chest straps, so even if you are moving at a pretty quick pace with this bag, these shoulder straps and the chest straps will keep it nice and tight and conform to your body, so you can go trail running or a fast-paced hike as you need to with these. And it should do the job fairly well. Let's look at the main compartment here. So we just have these 2 zippers, again with the weather resistance treated zipper there. And you can just see just how thin this material is with how it moves there. There's almost no support to the exterior of this bag. So this zips open, and it doesn't go all the way down, but it does open up fairly nicely. And on the inside here, you can see, just as a demonstration, I've got a down jacket and a first aid kit, as I usually carry, with plenty of room to spare. So being a 30-liter bag, this would be a pretty good size for a long single-day trip. Looking at the top here, we have this zipper pocket where I just have my keys and a wallet for demonstration purposes. And again, you can see almost just how flimsy this pack is. And flimsy may not be the right word because this bag was designed to be as lightweight as possible. So you wouldn't expect it to be really burly and self-supporting. So you can decide for yourself whether that lightweight feature is what you were looking for in a pack or not. And you can see just how small this is too. Like you could even like smash this up and pack it inside of a different pack if you wanted to. But the bottom of this bag actually is padded. So even though the rest of this material is very thin, the bottom actually has a little bit of support. So if you were to stand this bag up against the wall, it should actually hold itself up. If you were sitting down on a rock, you wouldn't worry about the material in the bottom of the bag ripping through or anything like that. So, as I had mentioned, I absolutely love the Distance 22 and the Distance 15, and that's what inspired me to buy this bag more as a day bag. And did it live up to the hype? So I got this from Black Diamond, brand new. The MSRP when I bought it was about $190. As of now, this is the 2023 season's pack, and they are discounted on their website, depending on the color, from $90 to $125. And keeping in mind that this is November of 2024 now. So let's talk about if this bag actually lived up to its expectations and if it might be right for you. So I'd mentioned how the cons included the shoulder straps not having pockets large enough for a cell phone. That was a major con for me, honestly, because the 15 and the 22 did such a good job with that. I expected it to be carried over to the larger Pursuit, and it just didn't happen. I do really like how lightweight this bag is and how comfortable it is to wear, especially when you have a lighter load in it. If you were just throwing in a light lunch, some snacks, some water, and hitting the trails, this provided all-day comfort, especially with the hip straps and this mesh shoulder straps. They did a great job. And for day-to-day use, the 30-liter capacity did suffice for pretty much all of my needs. I was just a little bit disappointed by the lack of carryover and similarities to previous products I had with Black Diamond. So whether this bag is right for you or not depends on your use for it. If you are trying to go grab peaks as fast as you can, you need something that's super lightweight and versatile. This is probably a pretty good option. If you're looking for something a little bit heavier duty and robust to really last a really long time, I'm not sure if this thin material will stand up to the test of time, because even though I did have this bag for a year, I admittedly used it less and less as the year went on. So although I do like it, I must admit that it is not at the top of my list for 30-liter bags anymore. Was it worth $180, $190 that I paid for it initially? Probably not. Current price point, which is about 50% of that, I would say this would be a decent option, especially if you're doing some fast-paced, low-weight hiking. So if there's anything else you want to know about the Pursuit 30, please drop a comment below. As always, to my subscribers, thank you for supporting the channel. If you are not a subscriber, just know that if you do want any gear, packs, or bags to be reviewed, go ahead, hit that button, drop a comment below, and I will add your gear to be reviewed to my list, and I'll see if I can get around to it. Until next time, though, you guys, I hope you stay safe. I hope you get outside and use your equipment, have some fun, and try to challenge yourself with something new every day. Thanks. See ya.